Hello and welcome to the news on Enyimba TV. We are reaching you from the commercial city of Aba in Abia State, Nigeria. First, the headlines. Residents of Umode in Osisioma LGA lament over epileptic power supply. Southeast governors to meet President Tinubu over Nnamdi Kanu's release. Manufacturers groan about the unfavorable government policies as Vice President Shettima assures of solving bottlenecks. Thanks for joining us on the news at this time. I am Mary Ihejirika. Now the news in details. Senate is charging federal government through its agencies to take immediate measures to rescue and ameliorate the sufferings of inhabitants of communities being ravaged by recent flood menace in Abia North Senatorial District. The upper legislative chamber gave the charge following the motion moved by a former governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor Kalu, on urgent need for the federal government to make emergency provisions for victims of flooding in some communities in Abia North Senatorial District. He called on the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, as well as the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to urgently make emergency provision available to cushion the effects on victims of the affected communities in Abia North Senatorial District. Southeast Governors Forum has resolved to beat President Bola Tinubu to seek the release of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. This is contained in a communique issued at the end of the forum's closed-door meeting at the government house in Enugu. The chairperson of the forum and governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, who read the communique to reporters, said the forum also resolved to tackle insecurity in the southeast. Enyimba TV News gathers that the governors of Imo, Hope Uzodinma, Ebonyi Francis Nwifuru, Abia Alex Oti, and Anambra Charles Soludo attended the meeting, which was hosted by Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State. We are still continuing with the coverage of the power situation in Aba, where power supply is still said to be epileptic in some areas in Aba. Residents of Umode in Osisioma LGA are lamenting poor power supply in their area. Our correspondent Amachi Osondo reports that the lack of reliable electric power supply and the recurrent blackout has caused the Umode residents severe economic damage. They lamented that the cost of alternatives, especially for industries, mainly diesel generators, is at least 4 times the cost of a reliable public power supply. Hence, residents cannot carry on their relative activities at night due to poor power supply. A business owner in the area asserted that there is no improvement of power supply in the area. Another lamented the epileptic power in the area and the subsequent effects on their businesses. They pleaded with the appropriate government agencies to come to their service by providing better solutions to regular power outages in the area. Traditional rulers in River State have urged President Bola Tinubu to disregard calls for the declaration of a state of emergency in the state. This is according to a communique issued at the end of the meeting of the Forum of Chairpersons, Local Government Area Council of Traditional Rulers in the state in Port Harcourt. The communique was endorsed by all the 23 local government chairpersons of the Forum, except that of Emohua Local Government Area, Sergeant Awuse, who was recently removed as chairperson of River State Council of Traditional Rulers by Governor Siminalaye Fubara. Governor Fubara, after removing Mr. Awuse last month, announced Chike Woluwodo, a traditional from Obiabo, another Ikore-speaking local government area of the state, as his replacement. A member of the House of Representatives, Ahmed Jahar, says the recent suicide bombings that rocked Borno State occurred due to complacency by security agencies and the communities. Mr. Jahar, who represents Damboa Goza, Chibok Federal Constituency of Borno State, stated this while leading a debate on a motion to investigate the recent twin bombings that rocked the state. Speaking on the motion, a member of the House, Abdusamad Dasuki, said President Bola Tinubu must take action on his political appointees in the security sector. Other lawmakers spoke on the agitation of state police by the states of the Federation. A member of the House of Representatives, Cyril Hart, has accused Deputy Speaker Ben Kalu of marginalizing first-timers during debate on the floor of the House. Mr. Hart, a first-timer representing Boni Degema Federal Constituency of Rivers State, made the allegation against Mr. Kalu during a debate on the recent suicide bombings in Borno State. Citing personal explanation, Mr. Hart accused the Deputy Speaker of bias against new members. He stated that only senior members were given permission to speak on the motion. In response to the allegation, Deputy Speaker Kalu said there is no discrimination in the parliament. Not satisfied with the ruling, Mr. Hart continued to speak despite his microphone being switched off by the presiding officer and stormed out of the chamber in protest. A bill to repeal the National Identity Management Commission (NIMC) Act 2007 has passed the second reading in the Senate, providing for the establishment of a national identity database, with NIMC charged with the responsibilities for the maintenance of the national database, the registration of individuals, and the issuance of identity credentials. The bill was read for the first time and sponsored by Deputy Senate President Senator Barwa Jibrin. Senators Adams Oshomole and Victor Umehu spoke as seeking efficiency and inclusivity of the identity management system in line with global best practices. Enyimba TV News investigation reveals that Nigeria failed to meet its national identification number NIN enrollment target of 148 million by June 2024. The total number of NIN enrollment was 107.34 million, leaving a shortfall of 40.66 million as of May 2024. In open support and a ringing endorsement, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, is rebuking Senator Ireti Kingiwe over her remarks against the FCT Minister Nyeso Wike. Senator Akpabio delivered a reproach at the official flag of ceremony for the construction of Kubo Bus Terminal in the Federal Capital Territory. Kingiwe, the senator representing the FCT, had thrown jibes at Wike on a national television, accusing the minister of not carrying her along, among other sundry allegations. But Akpabio, who was the guest of honor at the inauguration of the bus terminal, urged Wike to ignore the distraction from Kingiwe. Members of the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities and Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities, NASU, is giving the federal government up to Thursday, July 4 to settle all outstanding arrears, while failure which will lead to fresh industrial action by the unions. A statement by SANU after the 48th regular National Executive Committee meeting in Benin City, Edo State, listed 10 areas which they insist must be addressed by the federal government. The statement, signed by Mohammed Ibrahim, the national president of SANU, listed the payment of its 4 months withheld salary arrears, 3 months arrears of President Bola Tinubu's wage award, as well as renegotiation of the 2009 agreements, among others. Over now, we are moving over to health. Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, says a total of 63 deaths have been recorded in the ongoing cholera outbreak in the country. Director General of NCDC, Dr. Jide Idris, disclosed this in Abuja at a press conference he held to provide an update on the cholera epidemiological situation in Nigeria and ongoing prevention and response efforts at the national and subnational levels. The agency equally said 2,102 suspected cases have been recorded across 33 states and 122 local government areas, with a case fatality rate of 3.0% since the beginning of the year. Abia State is among the top 10 states that contributes about 90% of the cases. Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited Company, NNPC Limited, has declared that with Nigeria's current assets, the industry has capacity to produce 2 million barrels of crude oil daily. Mele Kyari, the group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited, during a keynote address at the 23rd Nigeria Oil and Gas Conference and Exhibition in Abuja, said very little effort is all that was needed to increase production. Mr. Kyari, who declared war on low production, stressed that while the company was ready to work and collaborate with its partners, it was also determined to leave them behind and forge ahead. Former Minister of Finance Olusegun Agongon is urging the government to declare manufacturing a national priority sector. He disclosed this at a 3-day National Manufacturing Policy Summit in Abuja. He pointed out that the mere possession of natural resources does not guarantee national wealth, while recommending elimination of excessive customs duties, levies, and overlapping regulatory mandates to boost the manufacturing sector. Chairman and Chief Executive of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, at the summit says the latest increase in interest rate to almost 30% by the Central Bank of Nigeria will hurt local manufacturing businesses and cause job loss. Federal government has approved a new business-friendly withholding tax regime exempting farmers, small businesses and manufacturers from withholding tax. This is according to Taiwo Oyedele, the chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee. Withholding tax is a method of collecting income tax in advance, deducted at rates ranging from 5% to 10% based on the transaction. Returns are due to the 21st of the following month with penalties for late filing. The new withholding tax regime is part of ongoing fiscal policy and tax reforms aiming to curb evasion and minimize tax avoidance, ease obtaining credit, and clarity on the timing of deductions and key terms. Federal government is joining forces with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, to come up with an actionable roadmap and policy framework that would refurbish the nation's manufacturing sector. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, who disclosed this while declaring open a 3-day National Manufacturing Policy Summit, regretted that this sector, which has a crucial role to play in building a nation driven by production and abundance, had endured a series of setbacks over the past decades. Speaking at the event, the president of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Francis Mishoye, said that review of the sector shows that employment generation declined from 9,559 to 6,428 in first half of 2023, compounded with exit of manufacturers from the country. You're watching Enyimba TV News. After this short break, the news continues with foreign, business and sports updates. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Now the news continues and we begin with foreign. Sierra Leone has brought in a new law banning child marriage with much fanfare at a ceremony organized by First Lady Fatima Bio in the capital, Freetown. Invited guests, including First Ladies from Cape Verde and Namibia, watched as her husband, President Julius Maada Bio, signed the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act into law. Anybody now involved in the marriage of a girl under the age of 18 will be jailed for at least 15 years or fined around $4,000 or both. The Ministry of Health estimates that a third of girls are married off before they turn 18, accounting for the country's high number of maternal deaths, among the highest in the world. Those who face punishment under the new rules include the groom, the parents or guardians of the child bride, and even those who attended the wedding. And on business, Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has issued a warning to deposit money banks, DMBs, and authorized forex dealers, advising them against rejecting old and lower dollar denominations from customers in the country. According to the Apex Bank, the directive became necessary as it had been inundated with complaints from customers after it conducted consumer market intelligence. In a circular by the Apex Bank, CBN's acting director, Currency Operations Department, Solaja Olayemi, said the regulator frowned at this selective acceptance of deposit and that all relevant parties must comply accordingly. The CBN said all banks and authorized forex dealers should henceforth accept both old series and lower denominations of United States dollars USD that are legal tender for deposit from their customers. And finally, from sports, a former accountant of Enyimba FC, Ebere Ahiara, has alleged that the 9-time Nigeria champions owe him salaries and allowances to the tune of 38 million naira following the termination of his appointment after 33 years of service at the club. Ahiara was relieved of his duties by the club in a letter dated December 29, 2023, following the appointment of another accountant. In his acceptance, Ahiara, however, noted that he received the letter February 9, 2024, thus claiming salaries from January and February 2024 and an outstanding March 2023 salary plus other allowances. Reacting to the allegations, the chief of staff to Uzor Kalu, Anozie, described Ahiara's claim as frivolous. Enyimba, 2-time winners of the CAF Champions League, finished the 2023-2024 Nigeria Premier League in 3rd place and will be competing in the CAF Confederation Cup next season. With a sports story, we wrap up this edition of news on Enyimba TV at this time. But before we go, here is a recap of the top stories. In the news, we told you that residents of Umode in Osisioma LGA have lamented over epileptic power supply. We also told you that Southeast governors are to meet President Tinubu over Nnamdi Kanu's release. And we told you that manufacturers have groaned about the unfavorable government policies as Vice President Shetima has assured of solving bottlenecks. That's our package of news for now. Please join us for more updates in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, don't forget to subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Click on the notification bell to receive alerts when new videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching. On behalf of the production team, I am Mary Ihejirika saying to have yourself an amazing day.